No one will ever really take iPad music production seriously. I saw something like this on Reddit about a year and a half ago, and it's an interesting idea, huh? This idea of where mobile music production is gonna go. I'm an idealist, so I believe it's gonna take off, but others are skeptical, and one of the main reasons being that the tech with this also isn't completely here. But to me, this is just like a cool phase to be in. The fact that we're even operating in a craft that still has new ground to break, that's just so inspiring in and of itself. Hello everyone, I am Cued and welcome to my mobile visual sound journal. In the last two entries, I've displayed elements of my process for mobile photo and mobile video making. So naturally, I'm going to do the same for music production. Here, I have a beat that I made for a friend's video that samples another track that I made forever ago and did nothing with. There's really no shortage of great videos on iPad music production on this platform. So the format that I follow might not be the most unique, it might be familiar if you've seen it before, but I'm just gonna kind of walk through the way I structured and built this beat. So my friend Jonathan wanted a down-tempo beat with a futuristic flair, and he just kind of let me run wild. He actually was the one to suggest I resample something else, as it could give the track an extra fragment of texture. I started the beat in Beatmaker 3 and pulled from a project in the long list of unfinished ideas I made in this app called Nano Studio. The original sample is this track where I sampled my mom singing opera. Now, before I go any further, it's important to clarify why I'm using the DAW that I'm using now. Essentially, Nano Studio was the app that I was using for all of my iPad music production, but it's an older app, which means it's way more limited in terms of functionality and horsepower. Now, I can't even use it with iOS 11 because it's not compatible, and we're on our way to iOS 12, so I can't even update, or I will basically not even be allowed to use the app anymore, which is a real bummer since I spent time creating a synth preset within the app, which has now become sort of characteristic for the sound that I've developed for myself. But it also kind of makes this a vintage synth now too, which is really weird to say about a virtual software instrument at all, but hey, here we are. That being said, Beatmaker 3 really is the comprehensive mobile music production suite, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible since I've done some work with them, but it really is complete, and making complete ideas is really enticing in that app, which is really important for someone like me who really has to do a lot just to stay creatively motivated. Alright, nerding out officially over. Here's what my project file looks like. I've got my drums, samples, extra material. It's all laid out in this menu. It started with the sample, which originally sounds like this. Then I pitched it down. Then chopped it up. Next, I started building the beat. Putting the beat with whatever sample I've made has always been and will always be one of my favorite parts of the process. Once I had the beat, I started adding other elements. Then I brought in my cued synth, as I call it, from Nano Studio. In the middle of the process, I start to balance the mix for production, just so I don't get overwhelmed by unnecessary loudness and can zero in on how the dynamics blend together. This includes sidechaining, adding subtle automations, whatever I need to get out of the way initially that can be tweaked later if I'm not happy. After that, I got a sense of where I wanted the project to end up in the final result, so I just added embellishments and separate pad banks. And then, yeah, ended up with this. That's the brief version of how I like to produce. In the future, I'll definitely be diving into more specific aspects of the process, which will be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And that also wraps up this introductory series on mobile art creation. So now I guess it's time to dive into some unknown prospects. So this is where the fun begins. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.